Welcome to an evening for Kora. As you may know, Ethiopia is the ancient birthplace of coffee, the drink so many of us enjoy today. Legend tells us that it all began with a shepherd named Kaldi, who observed his goats becoming excessively energetic after eating some magical red berries. Eventually, the people were enjoying the benefits and began roasting and grinding the beans to make a hot drink. Over the years, this has become a major export for the country and is a very popular drink amongst the locals. It has even been woven into Ethiopia's daily culture. What you're watching is a traditional Ethiopian coffee ceremony. It is a form of making and drinking coffee that has been practiced for centuries. In Ethiopia, there is a routine of serving coffee on a daily basis, mainly for the purposes of getting together with relatives, neighbors, and for welcoming visitors. When sitting down in an Ethiopian's home for a coffee ceremony, you best not have a tight schedule, as the process of making this coffee takes some time. The beans will be roasted over hot coals and then ground in a wooden mortar and pestle. Water will be boiled over the same coals in a pottery pot called a jebana. The coffee grinds will then be added, and this strong brew will be served in small handleless cups. For the individual pouring this coffee and serving guests, it is considered an honor. So as we begin our evening, may this ceremony serve as a visual symbol of us welcoming you, our valued guests. It is an honor to have you join us. Hello, my name is Mark Brandsma, and I'll be your MC for tonight's program. I'm so glad you're here. As you look around, I'm hoping you're going to see some familiar faces. If so, go up to them and give them a vigorous handshake. Even better, give them a warm embrace. We also have a fabulous dinner prepared for us tonight by our caterers. And I also want to remind you, take a few moments to go over to the silent auction and perhaps make a few bids. Silent auction, caterers, wait. Oh no, folks, I'm so sorry. I actually brought my opening comments from last year's Evening for Kora program. I'm going to try to make the best of this. Wait, I got it. You are participating in a virtual event, which we are calling Kora at Home. You may be watching at home by yourself in pajamas. You may be watching with a small group of friends enjoying food and drinks. You may be watching from Abbotsford or another small town in British Columbia. You may be also watching in other parts of Canada, or perhaps the US, or the other side of the world. Wherever you are watching, whoever you are with, and whatever you are wearing, on behalf of the Hope for Kora board, our staff both here and in Ethiopia, and especially on behalf of the people in Kora, we welcome you to this event. So what are we here for? As many of you know, Kora is an urban slum surrounding the city garbage dump in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The population of this district is estimated to be 120,000. Poverty consumes this area. Illness spreads quickly due to scarce and tainted food, filthy living conditions, and the lack of clean water. This kind of destitution breaks families apart. There are many widows, orphans, and mothers who have been abandoned to raise their children alone. Many who survive do so through begging, prostitution, and living off the trash dump. Hope for Kora exists to help break the cycle of poverty in this corner of the world, and in so doing, brings hope, both spiritually and physically. I have visited this special community on several occasions. In fact, for 8 months in 2014 and 2015, I lived there with my wife and 3 children. As you can imagine, it was a very impactful time for our family. I tried to go back there regularly typically on an annual basis. It is a homecoming of sorts. There are so many special people there. I can assure you that despite living in poverty on the other side of the world, we actually have a lot in common with these people. They have dreams for their future. They have vibrant personalities. They all have different abilities, God-given abilities. Many have a great sense of humor that I really enjoy. They have opinions on a range of topics. They are insightful and resilient. And let me tell you, the mothers fight hard for their children's future. These people are very real, and they're very awesome. But they face very challenging circumstances and could use a little bit of help from those of us who have been blessed with so much. That is why we are here tonight, for you to get to know the beautiful people of Korah just a little bit better and allow you to participate in giving them a hope and a future. Okay, well, with that introduction, let's get this party going. One thing that is great about this virtual format is that we get to have people watch from all over the world. We know people are watching from several locations in British Columbia, in Alberta, across the line in Washington, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and across the ocean in Austria, and as well in Ethiopia. While you can see me, I can't see you. I have to talk to this camera all night. So we want to connect with you throughout the evening. We invite you to post on Facebook or Instagram. If you are watching alone or in a watch party, we invite you to take a photo and post it. We want to hear your comments throughout the night as well. Be sure to include the hashtag #HopeForKora. We want this event to create a real buzz on social media. The length of tonight's program is about 90 minutes. In many ways, this event is a celebration. It is a celebration of the work that has happened in 2020. For those of you who have given to Hope for Korah in the past, in the last year, it is an opportunity to see how your gift has made an impact in the community of Korah. Tonight it is also about setting our sights on 2021 and providing you an opportunity to support the ongoing work in Korah. Last year, this event raised $188,000. The year before, it was $155,000. What will happen tonight? I have no idea. It's like the rest of 2020. But what we do know is that whether the amount raised is $500 or $500,000, we are committed to investing it as wisely as we can into the lives of the people of Korah. Now, how do you give it a virtual event? Well, I'm glad you're wondering that because we have been wondering that as well. If you live in Canada, we are providing an opportunity to text to give. That way. And if you are an American, you also have an opportunity to text to give. In Canada, you will be taken to a website called Tithely. It's a secure website, and it's fairly self-explanatory once you get there. For you American friends of ours, you will be taken to a site and will be going to our American partner, GiveClear Foundation. And they will forward 100% of the funds to Hope for Korah. You can also, of course, go to our website and donate from there. And of course, if you prefer to write a check and submit that, we accept that as well. All gifts made both in Canada and the US are tax receivable. You also may want to go online during this program and give, or you may prefer to wait till after it's done and go online at that time. Either way, whatever is your preference. And by the way, if you've missed any of this, don't worry, we'll be coming back to that information as the night goes on. So as we work through this evening for Korah, you will notice that we will be featuring the main programs of HFK. First, family empowerment and training. Also, the Birda breakfast, youth and education, and the medical program. So if you choose to give tonight, you will have the option of directing it to one of those programs. You will also have the option of giving to where it's needed most. Again, your preference. Now, as some of you might know, the most widely spoken language in Ethiopia is Amharic. Last year, during our live event, I took a few minutes to teach our guests a few words in this unique language. I taught the word thank you, which is Amasaganalu. That's a mouthful. I also taught the word for the phrase, that's enough, Becca. And, of course, I didn't want to leave out the word for coffee, and that is Buna. But one thing I left out, I couldn't believe it, I left it out last year when I was teaching. I forgot my favorite word in Amharic. And so here we are, 365 days later, I've had to wait this long to be able to teach you this word. And this word is smugly. Say that out loud, smugly. Do you know what smugly means? It means elderly gentleman. So, if you are watching this and there are any schmuglies in your midst, be sure to treat them with respect. And more importantly, actually, if there are any wives of schmuglies present tonight, treat them with the utmost of respect. Now, I'd like to introduce you to someone who I have the utmost of respect for. This is our founder and executive director. She is a friend of mine and of many of you watching tonight. And she is certainly a friend of the people of Korah, as she is tireless in her work on their behalf. Let's hear from Mrs. Eve Pohl.
Good evening. It's so good to be here tonight, and I want to thank everyone for coming and entering into Korah with us. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I first went to Ethiopia in 2010. I was with my 12-year-old daughter, and we were part of a medical team. I'm a social worker, and we were going to work in a small rural clinic north of Addis Ababa. However, when we got there, there was a new director, and they no longer wanted to help, and so all of our plans fell apart. However, God's plans were falling into place, because shortly thereafter, we stepped into a community that none of us had ever heard of before, named Korah. And once we entered into Korah, it touched us to the core of our being. It was heart-wrenching. And 1 year later, Hope for Korah was founded. 9 years later, well, here we are tonight. And much has happened in between. As Mark shared, the poverty in Korah is extreme. The amount of human suffering is hard to comprehend. And on that first day, when I stood in the dark of the small, dilapidated hovel, home to a family of 4, who had no blanket, no food, no bed, no hope, nothing, it was very overwhelming. The mother, Belanish, she had only one partial foot, and the other was a stump, and it was wrapped with a piece of twine and an old rag on a stump of wood. I felt helpless. I mean, I'm only one person, and I live on the other side of the world. What could I do? Well, alone, I can't do much. But I have since learned that together, with God's help, we can do a lot, which is why we're here tonight, and why I would like to deeply thank everyone here in Canada, in the US, and around the world who have come alongside and stood with the people of Korah. I hope that tonight you will be inspired as you see and hear stories of hope and transformation that you've been a part of. In addition, I would also like to thank all 40 of our Ethiopian staff for their passion and their commitment to Hope for Korah. Every day, these people do the hard and challenging work of changing lives. And tonight, because we're virtual, all of you will have a chance to meet a few of them shortly. As in many places around the world, this has been a particularly hard year in Ethiopia. I was in Kora during January and February, and upon arrival, it was like coming home. So many people that I know and love. My first day back happened to be on Epiphany, an important holiday. A big sheep feast was planned, and all of our families came dressed up in their very best for the celebration. And there was much to celebrate. The holiday, being together again, and also Hope for Korah's new beginning as a licensed international charity, or an NGO, in Ethiopia. Now, this license gave us the ability to work more effectively with our staff and also develop new programs to help meet the ever-present needs of our families, which turned out to be especially important because of all the major, unexpected changes that had to be made because of the arrival of COVID-19. Since the onset of the pandemic, caring for those extra needs of our families, like providing extra groceries, medical, providing critical hygiene materials, water, it was and still is a top priority. And due to the generosity of many people, we have been able to accomplish a lot, including providing 2 water tanks to the community at large. So thank you to everyone who has given and helped to make this happen. Our most recent round of emergency groceries was given to the families on the Ethiopian New Year's, September 11th. And families received a sack of flour, oil, various sundry items, including a chicken. And let me tell you, they were so excited about the chicken because having meat is a real treat. They seldom can afford it. So on the day of distribution, several of the women came to the compound early and they saw all these sacks of flour. They were amazed. But I'd like you to see for yourself their response to seeing such bounty.
I feel very happy. This organization has done so much for us. May God bless you all with long life. These groceries make us very happy. Just like you have thought of us, may God also think of you. May He bless you richly.
What are you cooking for the holiday?
I will make bread, chicken will be cooked, and clothes will be washed. May you all have peace and good health. Just like you gave us respect, may God give you respect. For those who are abroad, who stretch their hands to support us, may God stretch His hands upon them. I thank you very much. We've received everything. Please receive my thanks. Thank you. May God give you abundantly. We are very happy to celebrate New Year's Day. May God bless you abundantly. God bless you. May the coming year bring peace. And I pray that He will allow us to see each other.
As you have seen, our families were so grateful. This pandemic has really added an even greater burden to the lives of the poor. All of the COVID restrictions, school closures, increased inflation, lost jobs, and soaring food prices have significantly impacted food stability for people who already have very little. Many of our families, they earn meager incomes in jobs that have been halted due to the crisis. And living side by side in an overcrowded slum in these one-room homes, sharing a family bed if they even have one, makes social distancing and proper hygiene almost impossible. There's much more I could share, but instead, I would like you to hear from Kalumwa. She is a widowed mother of 3 beautiful girls. Kalumwa was born in Korah, and she began scavenging at the trash dump when she was only 10 years old. She finally stopped after being sponsored through Hope for Korah at the age of 42.
Coronavirus has affected me so bad. My kids are not going to school, they are staying at home, and it has affected me in many ways, and it's really difficult. Before coronavirus, I used to send my kids to school and I used to go out and work and get additional money. Now, I don't have anything. The only thing that I have to survive is Hope for Korah's support, and I'm grateful about that. After Corona, I spend my days here. I clean my kids, I clean the house, and I wash our clothes. Sometimes I go out and I do some work, but that's all I do. As a mother, she's scared and she's worried about the virus because she doesn't want to lose her kids. She doesn't want her children to be sick. She's not afraid of days or afraid of dying from corona for herself, but she's always afraid of her children to die from corona.
Susi, Kalama was explaining to us that these last 5 months have been extremely challenging for her family, that there were moments where she just felt completely hopeless, like she would never move on from this. Where does her source of strength come from? Where does she find her hope?
The only hope that I have is God, and I have faith in God. I have faith in God, so I pray in the morning, I pray at night, and that is where I get my hope to the future. That's where I lie all my hope to the future.
Kalumwa and most families in Korah were not emotionally prepared for the stress and the overwhelming psychological impact of the pandemic. For much of their lives, many of our women have endured significant trauma, economic and interpersonal stress, as well as a high degree of uncertainty. Many have struggled to navigate their own anger or other intense emotional reactions. During quarantine, many parents battled to keep their bored children confined to these small homes with no entertainment, little food, and nothing to do. As the weeks and months went by, the unexpected toll of isolation and fear led to increased incidents of family violence and relationship breakdowns. By summer, it became very apparent our families really needed help. So our staff arranged for professional counselors to facilitate several weeks of small group trainings and individual counseling sessions. They covered topics like depression, domestic violence, economic stress, communication, and parenting skills. For the first time in their lives, our women learned skills to manage their anxiety, stress, and conflict. They were very engaged. Some said it was so valuable because it focused on where they were personally at today. One of our moms shared that this 3-day training felt like 30 minutes. So we've asked Demose, another one of our mothers, along with Kalumwa, to share with you some of their thoughts on the training.
የሆነ ችግር ቢገጥመኝም የማይቀርበት ምክንያት አንደኛ ያሳለፍኩት ህይወት ምንም ተስፋ እንዳይኖረኝና የበራስ መተማመን እንዳይኖረኝ አድርጎ ነው ያሳደገኝ። ምንም እያወቅኩት ቢሆን አልናገርም፣ መልስ አልመልስም። በቃ ተወድጄ ስላደግኩኝ በራስ መተማመን
I have benefited in many ways. I never missed these trainings for any reason because I knew I could gain something. Because of what I've gone through in my life, I was left feeling hopeless. My past life was very difficult. One day is not long enough to tell my story. I was married at 11 years old and had my first child at 14. By the age of 20, I had 3 kids. After that, I ran away. But later, my parents gave me to another older man and forced me to marry again. He was old enough to be my father. In this life, I had lost all hope and I lost my self-confidence. When I was with other people, even if I knew an answer to anything, I would keep silent and never speak. But now, thanks be to God, I've changed a lot. I have much more self-confidence. Hope for Korah and these trainings have helped me a lot with such things. I learned a few things that changed my life. I now understand that if you have a business, there will be both success and failure. You cannot expect just one of these. You should accept that they go hand in hand. This way, you don't easily lose hope or get hurt if you fail. Instead, you must realize what you have lost today, you can gain back tomorrow. From this day forward, this is something I choose to follow in my work. In these trainings, I also learned about my kids. There were many things that happened in the past with my children. I now understand my kids better, and I know a better way to speak to them. For example, my eldest son keeps to himself and is not able to express his thoughts. I used to think he was hiding something from me, and I would punish him even for the things he had not done. But now, this training had helped me to have a better understanding of my children, which is very important.
One thing that I have learned, that I have gained during the training is how I discipline my children. I used to beat my kids so bad before to discipline them, but now I realize that there are alternative ways and there are much better ways that I can help my kids do the right thing. That's one major lesson that I have taken during the training. And the other is I realized that I am not like barehanded or I have nothing. I used to think that I have nothing, but now I realize that I have many resources around me, and I realized about the potential that I have inside me. So now if I start something, I can reach like to a big goal, to a big goal that I want to reach. So I have realized my potential. I have realized the different resources that I have around.
Yes, I have. I would like to thank them so much. My sponsors will be like my family until the day I die because they've contributed to my life more than any relative or anyone else. I have so much respect and love for them. God knows my heart. I would like to tell everyone who has contributed to this cause, both here and abroad, you have supported us in our times of need when no one else cared enough to even ask how we are doing. I don't have enough words. May the Savior of the world be with you and your families. Thank you very much. I wish you long life.
It is so beautiful to hear their reflections and to know that our women are feeling empowered and learning to better understand and develop control over their emotional responses, their relationships, their economic situation, and their future. And this is so freeing in terms of their self-worth and an important part of their future success. Empowering families involves much more than meeting basic needs. It means tackling the obstacles and the roadblocks created by poverty and in a holistic way. Each Hope for Kora program that you're going to see tonight is an important part of empowering the whole family, which we believe is a key to breaking the cycle of poverty. This upcoming year will no doubt be challenging. And now as COVID restrictions are gradually lifting and school in Ethiopia has restarted, it's a relief that our programs are all going to get back on track. But jobs are scarce and the economic landscape has shifted. The need is immense and the poverty remains, and there's much work to be done. But we're excited about it, and we're going to trust God for each step we take. And together with all of you and your caring support, we will be able to continue to touch and change lives and bring hope to many people living in Korah.
I recently found out that Eve is planning to go back to Korah in January. She knows a lot of people there, she loves them, and she can't wait to get back to her second home. There are several hundred people in the community that are impacted by the work of Hope for Korah, so she certainly has a lot of people to connect with. The time that I spent personally in Korah, one thing that you realize is that people live on the fine edge of two very different outcomes, two different possible outcomes. You see this in the video clips that we just watched. There is the possibility of powerlessness versus being empowered, hope versus despair, abject poverty versus dignity, chronic illness versus health and vitality. Hope for Korah exists to loosen the yoke of extreme poverty. It works to swing the pendulum in the direction of dignity, empowerment, vitality, and hope. So the testimonials that we just saw, I found so powerful. I was reminded how satisfying it must be for the sponsors of these lovely women to track their progress, to receive the occasional communication from them, to get an insight into their daily life. While you may never visit Korah personally, sponsoring a family or a student provides you the opportunity to personalize your connection with someone in Korah. And so there are currently 16 sponsors that we're looking for. And if you are interested in creating a bond with someone in Korah through a sponsorship, whether it's a student or a family, we currently, like I mentioned, have 16. And I invite you to visit our website, hopeforkorah.org, and click on the Available Sponsorships tab. Now, I want to read a few posts that we've got. Alice in Abbotsford says she's watching tonight's event with a Smugly. I also heard from Abel in Seattle, and he says, I can see your achievements from the happy faces. So thank you for those posts, and everyone, keep them coming. Okay, I'm going to switch gears here. What I'm holding is a wheel of Gouda cheese. At a deli, this would retail for a little bit more than $100. But this is no ordinary cheese. This cheese represents the spirit of giving of auctions past. In the past, when we have held this event, there has been a live auction element to the night. And every year, a wheel of cheese is auctioned off. And every year, it is generously bid on. In fact, over the last 7 years, get this, the winning bid for this cheese has averaged nearly $2,000. Now, I know that there are some of you out there who have never met an auction that they didn't like. In fact, we could call you auction junkies. And you're thoroughly disappointed by the fact that we aren't having a live auction tonight. Well, we got something to scratch your itch. And it is this wheel of cheese. So listen up close. If you would like to contribute to the work of Hope for Korah and have this wheel of cheese shipped to your front door anywhere in Canada or the US, then we want you to be bidding. Get your phone handy and start texting to this number to bid. As the evening goes on, there will be various live updates. I will provide those updates, and we'll see who the highest bid is. And at the end of the night, there is going to be a winner for this cheese. Now, I'm going to start the bidding at $300. So take it from there. Now, this year is a little different. And who doesn't want to be the one that won the cheese in the pandemic year? It's a thing that legends are made out of. Okay. Another person that we want to hear from tonight is our board president. Now, he is on his way to becoming a schmuggly, but he's not quite there yet. He's gentle and wise, and someone who cares deeply for the people of Korah. Let's hear from Mr. Dave Pohl.
Birda, what a great program. And I believe that Birda happened because God wanted the kids in Korah to have a healthy meal in their diet. I say this because on my first trip to Korah in 2011, I only had one thing on my agenda, and that was to help wherever I could. But just before I left, I watched a video on famine in Africa, and God used that to inspire me with an idea, and he moved obstacles during our trip so that as we were heading back home to Canada, the first Birda breakfast was being served to 40 children. So, what is Birda? Well, Birda is an Amharic word, and it means strong. And it's a fitting word for what we hope the program is for the children in the program. Birda and Fafa are the names of the two products that we've used. Both are protein-enriched, fortified with micronutrients and vitamins and minerals. When we started Birda, the first breakfasts were prepared like Western-style porridge and oatmeal with bowls and spoons. We meant well, but Ethiopians eat with their hands. So fortunately for us, the cooks, over time, they created Birda pancakes. And they cooked them on the hot plates that are in every Ethiopian home. In addition, we serve hot sweetened tea for the breakfast, and the children will dip the pancakes in the tea. But the real test, would the kids eat the Birda pancakes day after day? Absolutely. I'll never forget coming back to Korah 1 year later and looking at the kids and seeing a dramatic change. Their hair, their skin and complexion, their eyes were full of health and full of life. And for the past 9 years, we've been piling pancakes high on platters and serving the kids Monday through Friday. Once enrolled in Birda, all the children receive milk several times per week. Every other week, they receive vitamins and twice a year deworming. Each child is measured to the World Health Organization standard. The measurements are tracked, and so if a child starts to trend towards malnourishment, our clinic will issue a prescription for Plumpy Nut. Last year, during our peak, we were serving over 275 children at the youth compound. Also, 100 students over at Basilio School next to the trash dump. When COVID arrived, the government directed all schools to close, and they also closed Birda. So we were no longer able to serve breakfast, but slowly over the summer, we were permitted to serve pancakes in smaller groups during the course of the day. So around 70 students total who came to the library or attended the tutoring program. Now with the schools being reopened, we anticipated the restrictions on group gatherings to be lifted. So we intend to serve as many children as we will be allowed to do. But we also want to place a greater emphasis on serving the preschool children, those under 5 and their mothers. There's many preschool kids in Korah who are living in destitute homes and they're hungry during these critical development years. Having Birda in their diet would greatly improve their physical growth, their brain development, and their capacity to learn. Birda is helping children of all ages to have a healthier start to their lives. And one day we hope to improve the lives of children living in all 4 corners of Korah. Yeah, it was like, you know, when you do something accidentally and you're the hand that God uses to do it, that gives you like, wow, this has got my fingerprint on it. It's God's fingerprint, but God used my finger to make it happen. And I'm not the only one, but I was a spark, so that's part of it. But also you see you know, when you work with a family for years and they're still in poverty, you know, that's what Eve does, right? But when you feed a child and a couple months go by and you look on their, you can see the change. And setting up Birda was, compared to the complex social program that Eve and her team are trying to create, setting up a feeding program is kind of easy, right? And when they converted or invented the Birda pancake, that nailed it. So those pancakes are made before the kids arrive. There's platters. I think you've seen the video where they're piled high on the platters, and you just kind of right. So easy to hand them out. And the kids will tuck them under their shirt. Some will take one for, you know, later on, or sometimes they take it back to their home and give it to a sibling. So that's what, yeah, I love being part of that. Now, let's take a moment to watch this video.
Well, this is the stuff that Dave is talking about. We have gone through a lot of these bags since this program began. It has helped fill a lot of tummies with important nutrients. Dave, thank you for sharing your story. At this time, we are going to give you a few minutes to get up and stretch your legs. We're about halfway through the evening. This may be an opportunity to place another bid on the cheese. What we're seeing is a lot of frisky bidders so far tonight. We also would like to see a post or a photo or some further comments on social media, so take a moment to do that. And so take a few minutes to relax, and we'll see you shortly. Okay, well, there is some bidding happening on the cheese, and I believe it's updated again. $5,000 for the wheel of cheese. Thank you so much. Keep those bids coming. I also have a few more posts on social media. Jeff, who is the sponsor of Demos, who was featured earlier, he says, "Yay, Demos, God bless you, we love you." We also heard from Jill in the US. She says, "Sponsorship changes lives." We also heard from Carmen in the US. "I love seeing all those precious faces. Can't wait to be back." Thank you guys for sharing that. Okay, Hope for Korah is based out of Abbotsford, British Columbia. Abbotsford is known for its vibrant farming sector. It is also known for its generous farmers and those who are connected to the farming industry. Each year, there are several gifts that are made before this event, and this year was no different. We had a farmer that donated a cow. Old Betsy, pictured here, was donated and subsequently sold to another farmer for $1,800. Maybe it was the ribbon on her neck. All the proceeds, of course, have come to Hope for Korah. Another local businessman donated a load of sawdust, random but effective. This was subsequently purchased by another farmer for $1,000, the proceeds of which went to Hope for Korah. So many of you generously write a check or donate online, and that's amazing. But we also enjoy these creative fundraising efforts that happen each year behind the scenes. So thank you. Okay, we now want to hear from two young men who are having a big impact on the lives of young people in Korah. They are working together and also happen to be roommates. Let's hear from Jake and Dawit.
Hi everybody, Jake here.
Salam nachu, I am Dave.
It's so great to join all of you this evening. Many of you are gathered in your homes tonight across Canada and the United States for one purpose, to come alongside of Korah. We're here today at our Youth Empowerment Center. This center is so important and so crucial for this community. It's a place where kids can come and be safe and just thrive. I was away for quite a while, but when I came back, I was just so encouraged when I walked through those gates and I saw the kids running around, having a good time, and just being carefree. And it was so obvious to me that our youth have a place where they can come, they can learn. It's here that we have our Birda breakfast feeding program. It's here that we have our after-school tutoring program. It's here that we have this library. All of these things are so important to these young people. I was so impressed when I came back and I just saw the hard work that all of you have put in this summer with different activities. And for me, it's just such a privilege to be a part of this program, to come alongside of our youth and to serve them. It's just such an honor for me.
Yeah, Jake, as you said, the last summer we most focused on life skill training. We start giving training by dividing them in small groups and on different topics. For example, for kids, we give a training on character formation, such as like punctuality, honesty, cleanness, unity, and compassion, having a compassionate heart. And also for the teenage, we give them the 4-type relationship with God, relationship with self, relationship with nature, and a relationship with others. Yeah. So based on biblical context. And also for those young, we give them to understand the opportunity, the golden opportunity of being a youth, and also how to overcome the challenge, you know.
And I think our hope in this is to equip our kids for the future. You know, this year, the school year, it's going to have its own unique challenges. And our goal and our hope is that our children will take everything they learned this past summer and they'll apply it to their lives this academic year. And I think, Dawit, you said it best, the focus and the vision of this compound.
Yeah, the vision is why we are working on children is just to equip these children for the future. The future is holding different opportunities, so we are making them to fit for that opportunities and also to make them a problem solver generation, you know, a generation who fear God and coming with the good ideas, with the solutions. So
yeah, and I truly believe that this generation is going to change this community for the better, and it's such an exciting thing to be a part of. I just want to thank all of you for coming alongside of Korah and for investing in our young people here. You truly are making a difference. Say goodbye, everybody.
Jake and Dawit, that was great. Thank you. Now, going forward, we are planning to have a number of our most vulnerable children attend private school. The private school right near Kora. There's a big difference between the quality of education in public school versus private school. And so if you are interested in sponsoring one of these students to attend private school, as I was mentioning earlier, this is a great opportunity. We encourage you to visit our website. You can imagine that getting sponsorship for a higher, better quality education could have a massive, long-lasting impact on these children. Now, in the video of Jake and Dawit, you may have noticed that Dawit introduced himself as Dave. A little known fact, Dawit in Amharic is Dave. My son's name is Benjamin, and when we lived there, Benjamin was Biniam. My other son's name is Sam. His name in Amharic is Sam. The cheese bidding is still happening. It's going fantastic. We are over $6,000. We've eclipsed $6,000. Thank you so much for that bidding. Keep it going. Obviously, if that's not going to be your thing, there's opportunity to give in other ways as well. We have about 12 minutes, I should say, for the cheese left before we're going to close the bidding. And so just keep that in mind, about 12 minutes, and we'll give you notice when that time comes. Oh, just excuse me for a minute. These crutches represent Hope for Korah's medical program. Tonight we get to hear from HFK's medical director, who is going to provide us an update. I give you the amazing Mrs. Tammy Brandsma.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. When I first visited Korah in April of 2014, as a registered nurse with a lens for health, I remember being moved by the toll that ill health was taking on so many living there. One hospital designated to treat all those afflicted with leprosy, HIV, and tuberculosis in the country. That same public hospital also had to service the health needs of the 120,000 people living in Korah, where at the time shared pit toilets were scarce and filthy. Sewage systems were non-existent, and a consistent running water source was absent. While there was a government health clinic that supported childbearing and numerous other aspects of health care, most other frontline clinics were private, and as such, they cost money that those living in Korah didn't have. Understandably, with virtually no preventative or primary health care evident in the system, and treatment for illness either scarce or expensive for the poor, many of those living in Korah had a difficult time staying well or being able to change their impoverished reality. To name just a few of our beneficiaries where this reality had obvious impact over the years, there was Burhani, a 16-year-old who came to our health services with bleeding gums and loose teeth due to a severe vitamin C deficiency. High-dose vitamin treatment returned her to a state of health, and education on diet change kept this from recurring. There was also Lemeskin, 14 years old at the time, who was walking with 2 crutches due to his injury sustained years before, where his hips had dislocated and then had fused into his pelvis in this dislocated form. He has since received surgery and is now walking with a single cane. He's also completing high school with excellent academic achievement. He has options for his future. There was also Mekkonen, a single father of twins who lost his eyesight long before coming into our program due to trachoma, an easily treatable bacterium that is carried by flies, infecting the eyes and causing slow, irreversible change to vision. Treatment is a single dose of antibiotics. Non-treatment leads to irreversible blindness, which he now lives with. He continues to receive support in caring for his children, and we are working with him to access skills training that will hopefully lead to capacity for some income generation. Since my initial impressions in 2014, many improvements have taken place in Korah to all the health sectors and to the environment, reducing preventable disease. But the reality remains that poor health, whether chronic or acute, can land an Ethiopian in poverty, keep an Ethiopian in poverty, or return them to poverty, and is a considerable contributor to one's loss of meaning and purpose in life. Most of our families live with some element of disability or chronic disease within the family unit, and it is part of why they've ended up in Korah and in our program. This ill health has impacted their ability to learn, to provide for their families, and to thrive. Preventing illness or accessing skilled illness care, then, is a pillar to us fulfilling our mission, helping our beneficiaries break the cycle of poverty and keeping their families together. Let's take a moment to make this personal. Think back to a time when you needed access to health care. First of all, consider how you felt when you were ill. Were you able to work? Were you able to continue to fulfill your roles within your family? Continue with your education? What resources were you able to access to restore your health and to return you to a stable state? Have you been left with disability because you had to wait so long? Have you lost your home, your job, or your families because of stigma related to your illness? If you are joining us tonight from a high-income nation, you have likely experienced minimal disruption to the stability of your life and resources due to illness, comparatively to our friends in Ethiopia, though it still might feel like your life has changed a lot. But please consider with me in contrast those living in Ethiopia, a country of 105 million, slightly larger than the size of our province here in BC. In 2018, the World Bank estimated that there was one physician per 10,000 people in Ethiopia versus 26 physicians for the same population here in Canada, where we have far less illness and we have far more other healthcare professionals to support the system. With this contrast in the forefront of your mind, then, consider the impact of these realities in the context of our beneficiaries in Korah. Consider the difference it might make for them to be taught how to prevent illness in themselves and their children. The difference nutritional support would make in early childhood or during acute illness episodes. The difference advocacy, follow-up, and solid illness care would make to their health outcomes. All of this costs money that they don't have, but all of this is also what the Hope for Korah Health Services help provide. For many, we've been able to achieve this difference. For our elders, for example, our medical staff track their high blood pressure and ensure they have access to their regular medications. They ensure that their home is sanitary, that they are bathed regularly, and that they are well fed on low-salt diets. For all the children under 5 in our program, who are particularly vulnerable to ill health if they don't have adequate nutritional support, they receive regular monitoring of their nutritional status so that in their vulnerable years, their brains and their bodies develop well, because this impacts their future. We have walked several of our elderly and their families through the dying process, where their lives have ended well, with surviving family members being supported through and beyond the deaths of their family members. We have supported many others through gynecologic and orthopedic surgeries with improved health following and improved functioning as a result. Many others have received equipment, prosthetics, wheelchairs, glasses, hearing aids. These pieces of equipment allow individuals to pursue new education and work, to support their families because now they're not held back because of their disabilities. Even now, October of 2020, we are supporting the care of a young 18-year-old who was receiving treatment for leprosy. Due to familial pressure and the long care involved in leprosy treatment, he took traditional medicine therapy. That traditional medicine therapy has now landed him in one of very few intensive care units in the country. Hope for Korah is supporting him and his family financially, emotionally, spiritually through this crisis. There are so many more examples. There is much hope in Korah, despite the considerable negative impacts of COVID-19 and its isolation measures on our families. When you look at the people in these photos, I want you to see your families, your children, your friends, your loved ones. They have the capacity to change their communities, their country, the world. While you may not ever meet them, they are beloved people made in the image of God, like you and like I. I have had the opportunity to tell you their stories and present their need. We now collectively have the opportunity to respond. When you give to the Hope for Korah Medical Services, you contribute to staffing costs, scholarship opportunities, and primary health education for our beneficiaries, such as nutritional support, sexual health education, and health and sanitation education. You also help us afford the best quality care we are able to secure when our beneficiaries are ill. In conclusion, there's a contemporary hymn written by Cody Cards that summarizes why we do what we do at Hope for Korah. It reads like this: when every creature finds its inmost melody, and every human heart its native cry, then in one enraptured hymn of praise we'll sing Christ be magnified. Is this not why we have been given much? To change the lives of others by giving our plenty away and helping them find the meaning and purpose that they were meant to find. Thank you so much for giving generously tonight.
Thank you, Tammy. As she mentioned, there was a fellow named Esubalu who had to be in the intensive care unit, and I'm saddened to share that shortly after this was filmed, he passed away at the age of 18 years old. Esubalu was deeply loved by his family and all of us at Hope for Korah, and he'll be greatly missed. One of the core principles that Hope for Korah has always operated by is that we need to be holistic in how we approach the needs of the Korah community. As you've seen tonight, we support the education of the next generation. We offer employment and life skill training to the adults. We support a nutritious diet. And as Tammy so clearly outlined, we recognize the importance of these people getting adequate medical attention. So much rides on good health. I thought it would also be worthwhile to just share a few statistics from this year, what has happened through the medical program. There's been 248 visits to our clinic in Korah. For more serious issues, we have facilitated 200 hospital visits, both inpatient and outpatient. There's been 98 training sessions or visits around the COVID-19 prevention, sanitation, and testing. There's also been 250 beneficiaries that have received annual deworming medicine. And that's just a sample. There's a number of other things that happen. Okay, well, we've come to the point of closing out the cheese bidding, and it's been very engaged, I guess I could say. And we're going to be closing that out in about 30 seconds. And so if you want to get your last bids in, you can start that. Those 30 seconds are coming quick. Okay, there they are. 30 seconds. In the meantime, a few more posts from people on social media. Taylor and Malaya, shout out to you guys. In a windstorm in Abbotsford, are watching tonight with the power out. Look forward to hearing about that. We also have a dear friend, Johannes, in Addis. He says, greetings from Ethiopia. Wow, I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you back here with your kind hearts. That guy's a gem, by the way. Another, John, you're up late, from Nova Scotia. We feel privileged to be part of the Birda program. Thank you. There's been many other posts. Thank you for all those. I just can't quite get to them. Okay, we have a winning bid on the cheese. And it comes in at $11,500. $11,500. So thank you so much. So that is great news. But don't let that discourage anyone else from giving that much to the Birda program or the medical program. Okay. Now, we are getting close to the end of our program, but our time tonight would not at all be complete if we didn't hear from our country director on the ground in Ethiopia. Her name is Sosina, and she is warmly known as Sosi to those who are friends with her. She is a wife and a mother of 4. She is very educated and has a beautiful heart for the people of Korah. If I could use a few words to describe her, a few adjectives, I would say that she's passionate, inspirational, resourceful. She's a team builder. She's also gentle yet firm. We've been so grateful for Sosi's leadership over the last year, especially with all the upheaval that has been created by the pandemic. Her leadership has been second to none, and so we so value her. So let's take a few minutes to hear from Sosi.
Hi everyone, it's a great honor for me to join you tonight on this special night that we all come together to come alongside our families in Korah. This past year has been difficult year for all of us, but especially for our families. As you have seen in the Kalamas story, our families have faced many challenges and uncertainties. But despite all this, we are blessed to have a team that is committed to do whatever it takes to help our families succeed. And we are working together to ensure our families have a bright and happy future. One beautiful example of this is Zarito's story. Zarito, a mother of 3 girls, and who is committed and dedicated to do whatever it takes to provide for them. Here is Zarito's story of success.
Zarito, what was life like before you entered the program?
I came to Hope for Korah in this program. I joined this program during the time that my husband abandoned me and my children, and I started to work hard and try to survive by selling vegetables, tomato and onion. I started selling those vegetables, but it was really hard for me to pay for the house rent. So at that time, I didn't pay 2 months of house rent. That was the time that I was connected to Hope for Korah through the local government, through the Kabbalists. And Eve came, and the social workers came to my home, and they came and they saw the situation, and I waited for a little while. It is like a dream for me because I have never been supported by any organization in my life before.
በቃ አንዴ የሆነ ነገር አለ አይደለ አዲስ ዘመድ ያገኝ ሆነ መሰለኝ ደመሰሽ የማታውቂው ሰው ይሄን መጥቶ ይረዳሽ የወለደ አባት ጥሎ ሄዶ ብቻ ይከብዳል በጣም እዛ ሰዓት ማለት አልሐምዱሊላህ እዛ ልንገራቸውችን I remember the first time when I came to the program, they sent us, like my kids had
health care support. And my youngest, Sumaya, she was 1.5-year-old, and she was admitted. She was given a daycare support. And I remember the first day that we got AIF food support. I felt like I have got my parents, because I never had anyone to support me, and I never had anyone closer to me. Relatives, sisters, and parents, I don't have anyone. So this organization, the support that I got from Hope for Korah, it was like finding a very close friend and family. So I really remember that, and I value that a lot. When I came, after I came to the program, I started taking sewing training, and that sewing training, it was half-day training, and it was in the afternoon. So I continued on selling the vegetables during the morning time, and in the afternoon, my neighbors used to sell that for me. I organize everything. I tell them the price so that they continue selling that out for me in the afternoon when I go and attend the training. The training was so nice, and the teachers were really qualified teachers, and we were given transportation money to go to the school and back. In the meantime, during the training, my oldest child, Fatia, she was sick. She had a very serious gastric problem, and she was admitted at Alert Hospital. And the support that I got from Hope for Korah, it was valuable and unforgettable. During that time, that critical time, especially from the health workers, they used to come and visit my daughter at the hospital. They used to encourage me. Even at that time, I used to struggle to go and attend that half-day training. And because of the support that I got during this critical time, I could continue the vocational skill training, the tailoring skill training, and I could finish at that time. After taking different sewing training, then we were linked to a factory. We went there for practice, so that was how I got this training. I wanted to have my own sewing machine right after graduation, but I was advised to go to a garment factory and develop some experience and then start working there. And daycare was facilitated for all of us so that we can leave our children in the daycare and go to work, and when we come back we take our kids. Last year, it is in 2018 in July, that Zarito, she took entrance exam at one garment factory, and then she got a job, and she has worked there for 1 year to practice and to develop what she has learned in the vocational school. After working in that garment factory for 1 year, then I took loan from my saving group. I took 10,000 birr loan. I also took another loan for 5,000 birr from government, which was facilitated for poor women. I combined those two loans, 15,000 Ethiopian birr together. I bought a sewing machine. I also purchased some fabric, and I started making pajamas and dresses for women. And then I started working on my own as a tailor. Last year, she started her own business. After I started my own business, there are changes. I am paying the loan that I took from the government and from my saving group. I am paying back the loan. When I completely pay off all the loan, then I will have money even for saving. Because now I am supporting from the income that I get, paying for the house rent. I get 900 birr from Hope for Korah, but additionally I pay 1,000 more for this house. In the future, I know that I will have even more saving. And my plan is to buy overlook sewing machine so to make it double and to do more quality work and get more money.
So Zarito, how does it feel to be independent, to have your own business?
I feel very happy because I'm changed, I'm here.
And I want to share and I want to teach others how to have their own business, how to run their own business, and teach others sewing.
What an amazing story of success. It is stories like Zarito's that inspire us all to continue this great work. It is our hope and number one goal to have all our families share their success and their joy of accomplishment, being able to stand on their own feet, being able to provide for their family, and being a person with a dignity. The need is great, as you have seen, and there is so much work to be done. We are excited and optimistic about the future. We so appreciate all of you who have supported us and who have allowed us to remain committed in this work and this very important work that we do. We must continue to work together to bring hope and a future for the families, the poorest of the poor in Korah. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and God bless you all. Thank you.
And you're the God of this city. You're the King of these people. You're the Lord of this nation. You are. You're the light in this darkness. You're the hope to the hopeless. You're the peace to the restless. You are. 'Cause there is no one like our God. There is no one like you, God. Greater things are yet to come. Greater things still to be done in this city. Greater things have yet to come. Greater things are still to be done here. You're the Lord of creation, the creator of all things. You're the King above all kings. You are. You're the strength in the weakness. You're the love to the broken. You're the joy in the sadness. You are. There is no one like our God. There's no one like you, God. 'Cause greater things are yet to come. Greater things are still to be done in this city. Oh, greater things are yet to come. Greater things are still to be done here. 'Cause there is no one like our God. No, there is no one like you, God. There is no one like our God. No, there is no one like you, God. And there is no one like our God. And there is no one like you, God. Oh, there is no one like our God. And there is no one like you, have yet to come. Greater things are still to be done in this city. Greater things have yet to come. Greater things are still to be done here.
Greater things are yet to be done. And I just want to thank you, Keaton, and the Northside worship team for bringing us to this place tonight. And I really believe that greater things are still to come in Korah, because God's heart is for the poor. And I've just seen that over and over as I have walked the streets of Korah many times. I have just seen God walk there. And I know he cares and he loves these people. And so I just want to thank you all for just being here with us tonight and entering into Korah with us. And before we end the evening, I would just like to take a moment, just for those of you who'd want to join with me, just to say a short prayer for the people there. So if you would just take a moment, thank you. Dear God, I just want to thank you for bringing us all here this evening, and that all of us together can stand for the people and with the people of Korah. And as we've entered in tonight, we've seen many things, both hard and good. And we ask that you would be with these people, those who we've met virtually and those who we've not met yet, those who are hurting, those who are struggling. I just pray, Lord, that you would just give them strength and hope and show us how we can best come alongside. Teach us to love well, to encourage, lift up, and empower others. We thank you for all that you have provided, for all that you have planned, and all that you're going to do in Korah. May your will be done. Amen. Thanks.
It has been amazing to me through this process to see what is involved from a tech standpoint to put a program like this together. We've been so blessed to have a servant-hearted yet very skilled young man named Andrew Lukianuk. I think I got that right. To guide us along. He has also had a tech support team tonight, and so to all you guys, thank you so much. I would also like to thank Northside Church in Coquitlam, which is where we are right now. They have been supporters of Hope for Korah, but have also generously offered their facility as well as their equipment for us to use tonight.
We also need to say thank you to the Hope for Korah staff that's in Abbotsford, as well as the staff that's in Ethiopia with Sosana and Jacob, helping to put everything together that we've seen tonight from there. There was a great collaboration, a lot of work, and it's, well, you've just seen the work of what they've done. Great job, everybody. Thank you. And one more thing, Mark.
What's that? What's that, Dave?
Be right back. This here is the second wheel of cheese, and so this cheese represents the second bidder, the second highest bidder, and they've allowed their bid to stand. So brings a total for the two cheeses to $21,000.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
A lot of generous hearts.
And I also know that there's been a lot of bidding for the cheese throughout the night at various levels, and so we would encourage you to take that and just put it towards the programs. And so what you were prepared to pay for the cheese, to donate for the cheese, we ask you to consider carrying that through to Hope for Korah. And if there's anyone else actually out there that wants to donate $10,000 and wants a wheel of cheese, you know what? I'm personally going to go and buy some more cheese and make sure that it gets shipped to your front door, okay? So that about concludes our program. It's been a fair bit for you to absorb here. Please note that as we end tonight, the information for giving will remain on your screen for several minutes afterwards. If you want to text to give or give through our website, or if you prefer to submit a check, those are excellent options. If you want to give Canadian dollars or American dollars, both are excellent options. But however you support Hope for Korah, whether it is financially or through your prayers or the volunteering of your time, we are most grateful. This is such a team effort and is truly a blessing to be working together with people like you to promote hope and a future for the people of Korah, Ethiopia. Thank you so much. Well, guys,
That's it.
that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Good job.
So,
Good night, everyone.
good night, everyone. Thank you.